been a crazy week here this week. One thing after another happening. Craziness. But I'm back! This week we are going to make matching Viking Knit Donut Earrings. But in this video we are going to add beads to them. So that makes them a little more interesting, a little more fun to make. And we are going to talk about the evil eye, and dried cats, and witch posts to go along with the apotropaic magic from the previous video. Alright, well, let's get started. The evil eye. The evil eye, in Turkish, Nazar Mati, in Greek, local letters I can't read. Moving along. Is a supernatural belief in a curse brought about by a malevolent glare usually given to a person when one is unaware. The evil eye dates back about 5,000 years, as early as the Upper Paleolithic age. This iconic symbol is present across various religions and cultures, but most significantly in the Jewish, Muslim, and Christian faiths. The earliest known belief in the power of the evil eye predates ancient Rome and Greek times, classical antiquity. There has been literature that mentions at the 6th century BC it appeared on Chalcidian drinking vessels, known as eye cups, as a type of apotropaic magic. It is found in many cultures in the Mediterranean region, with such cultures often believing that receiving the evil eye will cause misfortune or injury, while others believe it to be a kind of supernatural force that casts or reflects a malevolent gaze back upon those who wish harm upon others, especially innocents. Older iterations of the symbol were often made of ceramic or clay. However, following the production of glass beads in the Mediterranean region approximately 1500 BC, evil eye beads were popularized by the Phoenicians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, and Ottomans. The idea expressed by the term caused many different cultures to pursue protective measures against it, with around 40% of the world's population believing in the evil eye. The concept and its significance vary widely among different cultures, but it is especially prominent in the Mediterranean and West Asia. The idea appears multiple times in the Jewish rabbinic literature. Other popular amulets and talismans used to ward off the evil eye include the Hamza, while Italy, especially southern Italy, employs a variety of other unique charms and gestures to defend against the evil eye, including the cornicello, the cimaruta, and the sign of the horns. While the Egyptian Eye of Horus is a similar symbol of protection and good health, the Greek evil eye talisman specifically protects against malevolent gazes. Similarly, the eye idols, 8700 to 3500 BC, excavated at the Tel Brak Eye Temple, are believed to have been figurines offered to the gods, and according to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, are unrelated to the belief in the evil eye. History. A belief in the evil eye dates back to at least ancient Ugarit, as it is attested to in texts from the city, ruins in modern-day Syria, given that the city was destroyed circa 1250 BC during the late Bronze Age collapse to never be rebuilt. The belief dates back at least to this point and likely earlier. Later in Greek classical antiquity, it is referenced by Hesiod, Callimachus, Plato, Diodorus, Siculus, Theocritus, Plutarch, Philodorus, Pliny the Elder, and Aulus Gellius. Peter Walcott's Envy and the Greeks, 1978, listed more than 100 works by these and other authors mentioning the evil eye, noting that Greeks are an ethnic group indigenous to Greece and that the Levant artifacts can be found from this region. Classical authors attempted both to describe and explain the function of the evil eye. Plutarch's scientific explanation stated that the eyes were the chief, if not sole source of the deadly rays that were supposed to spring up like poison darts from the inner recesses of a person possessing the evil eye. Plutarch treated the phenomenon of the evil eye as something seemingly inexplicable, that is a source of wonder and a cause of incredulity. Pliny the Elder described the ability of certain African enchanters to have the power of fascination with the eyes and can kill those on whom they fix their gaze. The idea of the evil eye appears in poetry of Virgil, as the conversation between the shepherds, Menalcas and Demoteus. In the passage, Menalcas is lamenting the poor health of his stock. What eye is it that has fascinated my tender lambs? Protection from the eye. The belief in the evil eye during antiquity varied across different regions and periods. The evil eye was not feared with equal intensity in every corner of the Roman Empire. There were places in which people felt more conscious of the danger of the evil eye. In Roman times, not only were individuals considered to possess the power of the evil eye, but whole tribes, especially those of Pontus and Scythia, were believed to be transmitters of the evil eye. The phallic charm called fascinum in Latin, from the verb fascinare, to cast a spell, is one example of an apotropaic object used against the evil eye. They have been found throughout Europe and into the Middle East context dating from the 1st century BC to the 4th century AD. The phallic charms were often objects of personal adornment, such as pendants and finger rings, but also appeared as stone carvings on buildings, mosaics, and wind chimes. Examples of stone phallic carvings, such as from Leptis Magna, depict a disembodied phallus attacking an evil eye by ejaculating towards it. In describing their ability to deflect the evil eye, Ralph Merrifield described the Roman phallic charm as a kind of lightning conductor for good luck. Around the world, a belief in the evil eye is strongest in West Asia, Latin America, East and West Africa, Central America, South Asia, Central Asia, and Europe, especially the Mediterranean region. It has also spread to areas including Northern Europe, particularly in the Celtic regions, and the Americas, where it was brought by European colonists and West Asian immigrants. Belief in the evil eye is found in the Islamic doctrine based upon the statement of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. The influence of an evil eye is a fact. Authentic practices warding off the evil eye are also commonly practiced by Muslims, rather than directly expressing appreciation of, for example, a child's beauty. It is customary to say, Masha Allah, that is, God has willed it, for invoking God's blessing upon an object or person that is being admired. A number of beliefs about the evil eye are also found in folk religion, typically revolving around the use of amulets or talismans as a means of protection. The Aegean region and other areas where light-colored eyes are relatively rare, people with green eyes, and especially blue eyes, are thought to bestow the curse, intentionally or unintentionally. Thus, in Greece and Turkey, amulets against the evil eye take the forms of eyes looking back at someone, and in the painting by John Phillip, we witness the culture clash experienced by a woman who suspects that the artist's gaze implies that he is looking at her with the evil eye. Among those who do not take the evil eye literally, either by reason of the culture in which they were raised or because they simply do not believe it, the phrase, to give someone the evil eye usually means simply to glare at the person in anger or disgust. The term has entered into common usage within the English language. Within the broadcasting industry, it refers to when a presenter signals to the interviewee or co-presenter to stop talking due to a shortage of time. Now, this one's a little creepy and a little gross. Dried cat. In some European cultures, it was customary to place the dried or desiccated body of a cat inside the walls of a newly built home to ward off evil spirits or as a good luck charm. It was believed that the cats had a sixth sense, and that putting a cat in the wall was a blood sacrifice so the animal could use psychic abilities to find and ward off unwanted spirits. Although some accounts claim that the cats were walled in alive, examinations of recovered specimens indicate post-mortem concealment in most cases. Origins. In the British Isles, as well as in Northern Europe and North America, the dried, mummified bodies of cats are frequently found concealed within structures and are believed to have been placed there to bring good luck or to protect the building and its occupants from harm. The North American instances are strongly associated with European households and are most often found in buildings where shoes and witch bottles are also concealed. In some cases, the animals are found deliberately posed as if in the midst of attack. In other cases, they are accompanied by dried rats, mice, or birds. Historian Ian Evans stated that in an interview that this was part of a secret folk magic practice that may have come from the Romans to the British and then to Australia as well. Evans has also launched the Tasmanian Magic Project in an effort to understand the history of this practice in Australia. Sometimes when the animals are discovered, as in the case of the mummified cats and kittens, it might be assumed that the animal was just accidentally there and got stuck. However, there are times when the animals are found in locations that would have been impossible for them to have got into accidentally, such as being encased in a brick cavity. Mummified cats in ancient Egypt. Cats in ancient Egypt were represented in social and religious practices of ancient Egypt for more than 30 centuries. Several ancient Egyptian deities were depicted and sculptured with cat-like heads, such as Mafdet, Bastet, and Sekhmet, representing justice, fertility, and power. The deity Mut was also depicted as a cat and in the company of a cat. Cats were praised for killing venomous snakes and protecting the pharaoh since at least the first dynasty of Egypt. Skeletal remains of cats were found among funerary goods dating to the 12th dynasty. The protective function of cats is indicated in the Book of the Dead, where a cat represents Ra and the benefits of the sun for life on earth. Cat-shaped decorations used during the New Kingdom in Egypt indicated that the cat cult became more popular in daily life. Cats were depicted in association with the name of Bastet. Cat cemeteries at the archaeological sites Speos, Artemidos, Bubastis, and Saqqara were also used for several centuries. They contain vast numbers of cat mummies and cat statues that are exhibited in museum collections worldwide. Among the mummified animals excavated in Giza, an African wildcat is the most common cat, followed by the jungle cat. In view of the huge number of cat mummies found in Egypt, the cat cult was certainly important for the country's economy, as it required breeding of cats and trading network of supply of food, oils, and resins for embalming them. Okay, moving on to witch posts. A witch post is a local superstition where the cross of St. Andrew is used as a hex sign on fireplaces in northern England, Yorkshire, and Lancashire, in order to prevent witches from flying down the chimney and entering the house to do mischief. We will have none of that mischief. By placing the St. Andrew's cross on one of the fireplace posts or lintels, witches are thought to be prevented from entering through this opening. In this case, it is similar to the use of a witch ball, although the cross is supposed to actively prevent witches from entering, and the witch ball is supposed to passively delay or entice the witch and perhaps entrap it. Observations. One of the more curious features of the central North York moors of England was the use of the so-called witch posts in cottages. Witch post is a fairly modern name for the tall piece of oak wood which in the 17th century supported the smoke hood of a inglenook fireplace. It stood on the floor and was incorporated within the structure, being distinguished by carvings on the face near the top. Carvings varied, but most included a cross, which was shaped like an X. Sometimes there were scroll-like effects beneath the X. On occasion, hearts and other designs were incorporated, perhaps with a date. With only one exception, these posts were located in cottages in and around the North York moors. The exception is one discovered in a house in Rawtenstall in Lancashire. In all cases, they formed part of the structure of the building, and the carving was of the style popular in the 17th century. Indeed, one post in Glisdale House bears the date 1664. It is not certain how widespread was the carving of these posts, but surviving examples have been found at Midgley, Glisdale, Danby, Rosedale, Gillimore, Farndale, Egdon, Goathlin, Lilholm, Silpho, near Scarborough, and a rather compact, somewhat wild area of the moors. Some have been removed while others remain in situ. There have only ever been 2 witches' posts found outside of the North York moors, one from Rawtenstall in Lancashire, and one at a great house Midgley. They were always made of oak and built into the structure of the house as support for the smoke hood above the inglenook fireplace. The posts were carved at the top with varying degrees of complexity, but all the designs included at least one X-shaped cross. Often there were 1 or more scrolls fashioned beneath it. A witch post from Postgate Farm, Glisdale, has the date 1664 carved into it, together with the letters EPIB. The witch, in order to gain power over a dwelling house, must go through their house and pass the hearth. The door and chimney were the only means of access, but she could not pass the witch post with its cross. Hence it was a defense at the hearth. A crooked sixpence was kept in a hole at the center of the post. When the butter would not turn, you took a knitting needle, which was kept for the purpose in a groove at the top, and with it got out the sixpence and put it in the churn. The name witch post did not appear until the 19th century. Canon John Christopher Atkinson's book, 40 Years in the Moorland Parish gives space to witchcraft beliefs in old houses but does not mention witch posts. However, in 1893 he donated an X-marked post to Pitt Rivers Museum in Oxford with a dozen scrolls. It was from the old shoemaker shop in Danby and Cleveland, and his letter, dated March 5, 1892, describes it as the assumed witch post. I have seen his letter, and it is clear he did not think the posts were associated with witchcraft, but he does not offer an alternative suggestion. Joseph Ford's Some Reminiscence in Folklore by Danby Parish and District tells us that such posts came to be called witch posts, suggesting this was not their original name. Other authors believe the term came into use during the 20th century. Witch post, Stangen College, Rydale Folk Museum. Witch posts are a rare architectural feature found in the medieval houses of North Yorkshire. They essentially consist of carving on one of the posts supporting the inglenook of the cottage, always including a St. Andrew's cross, although this example makes me think more of the Roman period Chi-Rho monogram. Witch posts, it is thought that they were intended to protect the house or hearth from the influence of witches or prevent them from entering the house. Less than 20 of these carved posts are known, all in northeast Yorkshire, except for one found in Lancashire. The Huntleys fitted new improvement in chimney and smoke hood. The post supporting the smoke hood is carved with St. Andrew's cross and several raised bands. This is the witch post. As a relatively isolated hilltop village, superstition seems to have endured well into the 20th century in Barkisland. A short distance from the Griffin Inn on Stanlin Road stands Stock's House, so called because it was formerly the village lockup, and an old set of stocks still survives beside it as a memorial to its former role. At some point, it was converted into a private residence, and it was probably during this process that the witch post was added to the hearth to deflect the influence of baleful magic known as maleficence. Chimneys and fireplaces were regarded as a vulnerable location by which witches could gain access to a house, and so the superstitious mind demanded such apotropaic contingencies. Jacqueline Simpson and Steve Roud explain. In Yorkshire farmhouses of the 17th century and 18th century, hearths were screened by partitions ending in the posts of rowan wood, carved with cross-shaped patterns called witch posts. Belief in their protective power continued into the 1920s, when Yorkshire builders made new ones when old. That's it for today. Thank you so much, and remember to like and subscribe.